Week 6, guys, we're on the topic of real estate. If you have questions or topics that you want us to cover in subsequent episodes, you can go ahead and post them in the chat, and we'll definitely see how best we can take them. So we're trying to go live with Kimari. Kimari.
I'm here.
Hi, how are you? Good night.
I'm good. Good night. How are you?
Not bad, not bad. I'm trying to stay warm.
Oh, okay. Warm is good.
And COVID free.
Yes. Please do. It's very important.
How are things on your end?
Good, keeping safe so far. Homeschooling and such.
Staying away from COVID, right?
Absolutely. And COVID needs to stay away from me too.
Definitely. So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You can introduce yourself for all of our lovely audience too.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Kimari. I'm a realtor with Coldwell Banker. I'm also a photographer. I have a real passion for real estate and making dreams happen for persons. So I'm here today to share my knowledge with you, and I hope that you get some value out of today's live.
Good, great. So I just want to pose the topic. So we're exploring how COVID-19 would have affected real estate prices, or real estate sector on a whole, not just prices, right? So I've been asked to cover this topic from a long time ago. So we're just on it, and I am very happy that you're able to help us just to demystify what's happening right now.
Okay.
Right? So if you will, I know you have a presentation for us, and certainly we'll definitely have some questions in between.
Okay, all right. It's not so much of a presentation, but I'll give you my views, my opinions on what I've been hearing in the sector. So we are in a pandemic, as you know, and with that pandemic comes some level of uncertainty. So you can't necessarily say this is exactly what is going to happen. It's very uncertain. But for sure, I can tell you what has been happening and give you my personal views. So the COVID-19 pandemic has affected us in several ways. In terms of real estate, I still have clients who are buying. Buying has not stopped. Persons who are stranded overseas are still calling me, asking and looking for property. Because the truth is, once you're in a position to purchase real estate, it's advisable that you go ahead and do so. Because if you're Jamaican, you know prices only go up. Real estate is the only real solid true investment. When stocks are going down, real estate property values are going up, right? So once you still have your job, I mean, those who were affected with job losses clearly had to pull out and pause to try and recoup and prioritize, because you have to eat now as opposed to buying a house and then you can't eat. So those who were affected by like the job loss and uncertainty of income, surely that would have affected their ability to purchase now. But those who were still in a good position are still buying. Construction has not stopped.
Mary, I know you can't disclose exactly who, but these are high net worth clients, or these are the everyday blue collar, hardworking citizens?
It's a good mix. It's a good mix. So you have those government workers who still have their jobs, haven't lost it. Jamaican people always want somewhere to live. True? And then you have those who want to invest and get additional properties. So it's across the spectrum. You have those who want villas. They want to come back and know that they have their own space on the waterfront, beachfront property. You have those. But you have the regular everyday person who just needs a home, somewhere they can stay at home, stand at your yard safely. You want that space where you can make it yours, you can sanitize it. A lot of persons realize now how uncomfortable they are in their space. And so they have made a decision that now is the time to even just get the ball rolling, to start looking for properties and get themselves in a position to move forward with that property that they're trying to find.
Okay. So a question, what are the expectations for like prices in general? Let's say where residential real estate rental rates are declining, but definitely not seeing where the prices for residential homes are declining with regards to buying.
Okay, all right. So let me address the rental rates first. the reason you're seeing a decline in the rental rates, let me explain. So around Kingston, all right, back up a little bit. We tend to gauge the real estate market by what's happening in Kingston. So let me just remind everybody that Jamaica, we have 14 parishes. So we can't really gauge the entire industry by what is happening in Kingston, right? So just bear that in mind. So yes, a lot of apartments are in Kingston, and a lot of those apartments were bought for Airbnb purposes or investment rentals. So with the whole pandemic, airports being closed, we didn't have that whole influx of tourists and visitors to absorb the rentals. So then persons had to make a decision. Either you wait it out and you don't know how long this is gonna take, or some income is better than no income. So everybody had to be putting their properties on the market. If you notice, there are a lot of fully furnished apartments for rent. So it's not just general rentals, a lot of them are fully furnished. So with all of these, demand versus supply. So if you have all of these properties coming on the market for rent, you're gonna have competition. And so you have to put down the prices because you want to get somebody in there. So that is why you see the rental prices going down. In terms of sales now, you haven't seen all those properties going on the market for sale. So you're not gonna see the prices going down. So right now we're watching what you call a seller's market. Seller's market means that the seller holds the handle. So look at it this way. If everybody wants a particular product and I have that product, what can I do? When I put it out there, everybody's gonna come. And then if you want it, let's say a property went up for 15 million. And because you don't have, like houses and townhouses, are in short supply, lots of apartments. But if a house went up for 15 million, you will say, yeah, man, I want it, and you qualify, you bid 15. Next person comes and they say, no, man, I want it, but I want to make sure I get it. So they go ahead and they bid 16. Then somebody else come and say, no, man, no more house on the market, So they say, I want to make sure I get it. And they probably bid 16 and a half. So then that owner is going to take the highest bidder as long as they can manage to pay for it. And then what that does is, so a little bit of insight now, when a valuation for a property is done, it takes into consideration the value, the selling prices over a period of time. So if all the properties have been selling for a particular price, which may be higher than what it used to sell for, then that automatically drives up the value of the next house in the neighborhood. You understand?
So is it safe to say, so I understand so far. So is it safe to say this is mostly happening with Kingston? Because I don't see, like, let's say, for example, another proxy, Moby, I don't see Moby prices as high as Kingston prices.
No, Moby prices are not as high as Kingston prices because a lot of development is going on in Kingston. We're focusing a lot on Kingston. And yes, the rest of the island is there that will need some development. And there are developments coming on board now. So they're focusing on Moby. There have been some construction, if you notice, going on, and there are more to come on stream. So you might see it happening eventually. Moby is tourist central as well. The airport is down there as well. So with returning residents now, you may see them trying to get into the Moby market. And then we can see what happens there when the demand is down there, but we have to find the supply as well.
Definitely. Okay. So in terms of, so you explained earlier the rental rates, right? Why they're pretty much trending down now versus housing prices in general. From where you're standing, right, or sitting tonight, could you touch on maybe, let's say, for example, commercial property rates, rental, and also the cost outright buy?
What's the last thing? Also what? Cost?
Oh, so just the same thing now with commercial properties, right? So with, let's say, for example, more persons staying home now or working from home, where do you see rental rates going?
Oh, okay. Well, all right. So you have to look at it from the baseline first. So this is my personal opinion now, right? In Jamaica, we have our businesses, and as business owners, that is how you live, that is how you eat, that is how you provide employment for other people. So there are some industries, depending on what it is, that they have to have that brick and mortar. So like your banks, yes, they might put more things online, and they may allow some of the workforce to work from home, but they still need that physical building to operate from, as an industry. And then every day you have entrepreneurs coming up. Yes, you may put some aspects online, but you still will need to have that brick and mortar so that persons can come to your location. Even for shops, spas, places to go and buy stuff. I mean, Jamaica, like, even at Christmas time, people like to walk the malls, and that's where you get a lot of your shopping done. So I think we will still have that element there. Yes, things will change a little bit. You have to wear masks for now, and put certain things in place, but I still see that there's a place for commercial spaces and for rentals. Persons are still building, construction is still going on for commercial spaces. Even in the downtown section, a lot of people still believe in the redevelopment of downtown. So if a property goes up for sale and it's at a good price, as with any property, once it's priced right, it's gonna go. And sales have not stopped, rentals have not stopped. Brick and mortar is still here to stay.
Excellent point. So I just want to touch on, there's a little bit of speculation now with the whole Black Lives Matter movement, right? Right across the globe. So I am getting feedback that persons might be exploring returning home, right? What does this mean now for like already bolstered prices, both rental rates as well as outright buying costs?
Well, it comes back again to what I said about supply and demand. So if the persons are there who want to come back, but persons are buying now. If what I found is that the younger generation who have gone overseas to work, they still want to maintain their jobs and earn that US money so that they can purchase properties here, because the ultimate goal is to return. Whether it's for retirement or otherwise, the ultimate goal is to return. So persons have started purchasing things here to come back, but they're not coming back immediately because they're gonna weigh the priorities, if they have a good job and depending on where they are and what the outlook is. But like I said, it comes back to supply and demand. So if apartments are there, we have a lot of apartments, and if they're coming back, a lot of persons who have lived overseas, I find that they like the gated community. So we have no shortage of gated communities. So there's enough supply to absorb that. The problem now is when persons come back and they want like a standalone house, and you also have persons who want to build, right? Don't forget the persons who need to build. So, if you're in a position and let's say you're working overseas and you need to come back, you can buy land, probably come back and stay with a relative and then build. So as long as the properties are there, if it's in short supply, the prices will remain as they are as a seller's market. But once more properties come on board, I haven't seen it in a while, let's see what happens. Then you see where maybe buyers can negotiate prices. So let me just clarify. So I explained before what a seller's market is. If it switches to a buyer's market, it was a buyer's market for some time, like maybe 2 years ago or so, for about 5 years before that, or 3 years before that, where buyers had negotiating power because you had a lot of properties being sold. And so they could pick and choose and negotiate, and sellers had to come down on the prices. So if we find that happening again, we'll be back to that. I don't really see it happening just yet, but I mean, anything is possible. We can wait and see. And a lot of people also are looking for a deal. Everybody's calling me looking for a deal. But I just want to throw it out there that think about it. Everybody who you know who has bought a property, when they bought it, it was probably a stretch, right? But give it a couple of years, it appreciated in value, didn't it? Every property goes up. So you may be looking for a deal and it may not be out there now, but if you check what you can afford and you get it, I guarantee you, you'll see returns for it later on. So the deal is what is in front of you now.
Okay. Talk to us a little bit about what's happening outside of Kingston in other parishes. So you had mentioned Montego Bay earlier, but tell us about other parishes that you would encourage. Let's say, for example, the typical millennial that's probably still living with their parents or still renting. Are there options outside of Kingston close by that they could look to purchase their first home?
Oh, yes, absolutely. All right, so first of all, you have to have that mindset that you're going to commute, especially if you live in Kingston. If you work in Kingston, rather, you're going to think, all right, most people don't want to commute. They want to live right next door to where they work. But you have so many other options. So those who have already decided that they'll make the compromise. So, the further you go out of Kingston, the cheaper the property will become. I've had experiences where, you know, I've given the same talk to persons and they have benefited. So if you want an apartment in Kingston, let's say you would need 20 million. But if you decide that, okay, you could go to St. Catherine or go to Old Harbor, you can actually get a house on land that you can go upstairs or add on to, put out your vegetable garden, and you can probably get it for 15, 16, right? So
Yeah.
a lot of people don't want to go to Portmore. No disrespect to Portmore people, they Portmore for sure, right? But some persons, you know, they think it's congested because a lot of people are going there. You have Old Harbor.
Yeah.
But then sometimes we forget that you can go to St. Thomas. So a lot of persons have told me that the commute to St. Thomas is easy. That's their opinion. They have traveled it. Persons live and work, live in St. Thomas and commute to Kingston. And there are a lot of options out there. There's land that you can buy and build. And there are also homes at good prices in St. Thomas, which is close to Kingston. But I mean, if you don't live in Kingston,
In my humble opinion, I think the air is much fresher out here.
well, absolutely, because it's not as congested as Kingston. Everybody cram up in Kingston. So, I mean, so those are areas that are close to Kingston that you can consider. If you live in other places like, you know, the Portland, Montego Bay, right across, there are options for houses. It just depends on where you were born, where you grew up, where you're comfortable with. If you have returning residents, a lot of them go back to their home parish. There are always options.
So do you see St. Thomas as the new Portmore?
But I don't know. I don't know. You know, the truth is there's a lot of land out there, and I think if developers actually focus and put in the infrastructure, it will do really well. Because I have persons who are willing to go to St. Thomas, and once it's priced right, it will sell. So you put up a nice gated community, holy land out there, nice gated community, you know, lots of green space, it will sell.
Excellent. So I should have asked you earlier because, and even for myself, sometimes I have to remind myself, what is the difference, right? So probably digressing just a little bit. What's the difference between a realtor and a broker?
Okay, all right. So there are different stages. You know, like you do your CXE first, and you go to university, then you do you get your degree, then you go to do your master's. So when you enter into industry, you enter as a real estate salesperson or a no, let me clarify. You enter as a real estate salesman. You are a realtor when you are a member of the National Association of Realtors, which is the international arm. So you pay a member's fee to the Realtors Association of Jamaica, and you are, we have to abide by a code of ethics. So not all real estate salespeople are realtors. So some people don't know the difference. Everybody's a realtor to them, but you're a realtor once you abide by the code of ethics and you are a member of the National Association of Realtors. You become a dealer now. After you've practiced for 2 years as a realtor, you can do additional studies and apply for your license to become a dealer. And then when you're a dealer now, that is when you can open your own company and hire persons and work.
So I hear a lot of things. So I hear the realtor, but so the broker just works for the realtor to sell properties. Is that?
No, okay. So the broker will own the company, and every real estate agent has to attach to a brokerage. So if you're a broker, so like for Coldwell Banker, we are a franchise of International Coldwell Banker, right? So our broker, Andrew Issa, he owns Coldwell Banker, and as a realtor, you have to attach to a brokerage in order to practice. He now, as a broker, owns the company, and we work with him. Make sense?
So when do you get? Makes sense, right? So I hear it from the perspective of the building, but when the job title now says, for example, Leighton, right, who's supposed to be coming on after you, when his title is broker, does that translate to just a sales rep? Is that
No. Okay, so you have real estate agent and then you have broker, right? So then he would have practiced for a couple years before, and then he would have done additional studies in order to qualify for a broker license, which means that he can then run a firm, he can hire realtors, right, who would be under him, and he would run a business and operate a business.
I get it.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to walk me through the process of, let's say, buying your first property, right? How does the bidding process go? What are some of the top 5 documents that I should be preparing or getting ready for that process?
Okay. I actually have a YouTube channel and I just put up a video on that, the steps to buy a home. I can probably send you a link and you can put it out to your followers afterwards. So when you are ready to buy a home, if you're buying cash, then you know you have your cash in your bank. So no cash under the mattress. You know, we have to ensure that your cash is in the bank and it is legitimized, right? If you're going through the regular average.
If I've been saving under my mattress, it can't hurt.
It have to go to the bank because we don't know where you get the money from. If you come with a Krogos bag full of cash to buy a $50 million apartment, you're kind of gonna have some issues, right? So, okay, so the average person will be taking a loan from a banking institution. So your first step is to get pre-approved, right? Pre-approval just means that you contact an institution of your choice, and they will tell you how much money you can borrow in order to purchase. So you wouldn't go shopping unless you know how much money you have to spend, right? It's the same concept. You're shopping for a property, you need to know how much money you have to spend. You can either get the pre-approval first or contact your realtor first, and then they will get you hooked up with a lending institution. Or you can go to your realtor already pre-approved, and then that will kind of get you moving ahead. I say that especially now with COVID-19 and Corona, where persons are a little bit more apprehensive with their properties, you need to have your pre-approval letter before you can even go and view a property in a lot of cases, because persons are risking their health to allow you to view the property so that it can be sold. So some are tenanted, some are owner occupied, and they have to let you in. They don't know you, you don't know them. So to keep safe, they want to ensure that you are serious, and Jamaican people love to look on house. So sometimes you have a property and nobody's interested in buying it, just want to see what inside looks like. So if you're serious, you get the pre-approval, and then you and your realtor know, you let them know how much money you have to shop for, what the criteria is that you're looking for, whether it's a house, a townhouse, an apartment, whether it's a house to live in or an investment property, whether you're looking for land to build on or you're looking for development land because you want to build a development. So whatever it is that you're looking for, you let your real estate agent know, and then they will send you all the options that are available. And then once you narrow down what you want, you know, house hunting begins. You can go around, look, pick and say, all right, this is the one that I like. When you pick the one that you like now, you do what we call an offer. There's just a little form that you fill out to say, this is the property, you're selling it for 20 million, you either want to offer the full 20 or you want to negotiate, so you start at 18, and then your realtor negotiates on your behalf, right? So then once the owner accepts your offer, good to go. They send over the information to the attorneys, they do all the legal you get your mortgage done. So your pre-approval letter, whoever did that for you, if let's say it was a Victoria Mutual and you went there and you give it a letter, you contact them and you say, okay, I found a property, I'm ready to move ahead. And the same thing with NHT. They give you a pre-approval letter, and then when you're ready now, you tell them the information, and then they process your loan, and they do all the legal fandangles, and then you get your key. That's in the simplest terms, making it easy to understand.
Sounds very simple. And
yeah, man.
This process, I mean, before we wrap up just this section, this process takes maybe 2 months, 3 months?
Which section of the process?
All of it, completely.
From looking to completion, or from making an offer?
So from looking to making the offer to moving in, right? You get the keys.
All right. So from looking to making the offer now, that varies because some people picky. And then some people you show them every single property and they still can't decide. Some people, they go in, they make an offer, and then somebody else's offer is accepted, so they have to go again. Some people, you know, it's accepted off the bat. So that one is not hard and fast. And then sometimes what you're looking for may not necessarily be available. So that section, you know, as a realtor, we try to make it short, but sometimes it's lengthened because the decision is up to you and you can't decide. So let's say from you make the offer and it's accepted until you can get your keys, that's generally between 30 and 90 days. So if you're paying cash, we normally go with 30 days, as long as the attorneys can make it happen. And that also depends on the government process, which is stamp duty and transfer and all of those things. I'm making it quick. But then sometimes with the loan process now, if you take a while to produce your documents, sometimes that lengthens it out. But generally it's 90 days for a sale. Sometimes it goes longer. Yes, the process in Jamaica is not as efficient as it can be, but that's what it is right now. So between 30 to 90 days generally. Sometimes 120.
Okay. So just let me know, for example, before you go, how much cash in hand do we need, or of the percentage of the property? Is it, I think, the deposit
10.
section, right? Is
10%.
10?
Yeah, 10%.
Safely.
10%. You need 10% to start. Okay, so sometimes if you're going through NHT, they'll allow 5%, but generally work with 10%. If you don't need, if like NHT is helping you with a 5, it doesn't hurt to have an extra cushion, but 10% to deposit. Save as much as you can, because anywhere that you buy, more than likely you're gonna need to do some type of upgrade or personalization. So to have that extra cash in hand can't hurt. When you have your mortgage to pay every month, you need to eat too, right? So it never hurts to have that extra money in your pocket. So just save, save, save. When you reach to the 10, don't stop. Just keep saving until you get there.
Okay. So before you go, is there anything that you might want to leave with our viewers just to wrap up your section?
Yeah, sure. Based on the conversation that you and I had before this live, I just want to tell everybody, do not give up, right? It can happen. Once you have that goal, once you have that drive, don't give up. There's always an option. So if your goal is to own somewhere, there's 2 quick tips. One, your first home does not, or your first property does not necessarily have to be the one that you live in. So if you're comfortable where you are, you can consider buying something smaller that you can rent out as an investment. So whether it's a small studio or an apartment, that can be your first property. But the point is that just hang in there, don't give up. It can happen. Just save. Don't buy the extra shoes, and hang in there. You can realize your dreams.
Thank you so much for the enlightenment and the encouragement. So viewers, you just heard from Kimari. She's the realtor at Coldwell Bankers. Kimari,
Yeah.
could you just leave your information in the chat? And I know you will actually send it to me so I can pin it on the page afterwards,
Sure.
so persons can read it too. But send us the YouTube link and also send us a link to where we can follow you on IG for persons who might want to follow Kimari on social media.
Okay, well, across the platforms, it's at Kimari Realtor. I'll send it to you in the chat as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Kimari.
Thank you so much. Keep safe.